Hi Scorpio, this is your November 2023 spiritual reading. So I've pulled some overall energies for you guys. We have the heart, the dead end. We have number 4, strength of vulnerability. True power lies at the root of a perceived weakness. And we have number 15, disordered desire. Conscious desire rarely satisfies the unconscious need driving it. And we have the 4th house in Eros. So it's interesting because there's a lot of heart-centered energies here with the 4th house, the heart, vulnerability, desires, Eros. It feels like you guys are trying to satisfy something within you. You're trying to fill something within you with the wrong things. And that could very well be love with Eros popping up. It's like everything you think you want and you think is going to make you happy ends up a dead end. It ends up not bringing you what you thought that it would. It really reminds me of, it's like you're seeking love externally to feel love for yourself and love within yourself, but that's something that only you can do. This reading, there's a message that hasn't popped up, and that's why I'm gonna start pulling a bunch of cards for you guys, but it just feels like you're trying to, you think whatever it is that you think is going to make you happy, or whatever you think that you desire isn't actually going to give you the satisfaction. It really feels like those desires, you really have to find the root of it. Where is it coming from? If you think like right now you want love in your life, why? Like, do you need love? Do you think it's gonna what do you think it's gonna add to your life? What are you seeking from love? It feels like there is Scorpios, you guys love to dig to find the truth, and it feels like the X, where you're meant to be digging, where you're meant to be finding truth is in your desires. Whatever it is you're seeking and chasing in life, really, instead of seeking it externally, go within and find, what's at the root of this. Let's see, we have the 10 of Swords, again with the dead end. It's like everything that you think will make you happy ends up leaving you right back where you were. To this, it's like you're watching everything go away, and it's not what you thought that it would be, and it didn't give you what you thought that it would give you. We have the Moon. The High Priestess. The Knight of Swords. And it's interesting because you guys normally, you don't run from healing and from like doing that inner work. But it feels like there is something that's there's something subconsciously that's very painful for you to deal with. And that's why it feels like there's a part of you that is seeking the cure in the external world, because it's like you're running from going within and actually dealing with this and seeing what it's actually trying to tell you. This is it feels like you guys may have some deep wounds when it comes to love, and with every wound, it generally goes back to childhood. You know, were you loved unconditionally? How did you witness love? How was love defined to you? Did you experience a lot of emotional pain that you know, as children, we don't have the ability to understand and deal with a lot of things that we experience, and so we shove it, you know, behind some door in our subconscious, and then later in life we kind of have to deal with it, or it controls our life, and we keep attracting it until we realize, oh, I'm meant to see this within me. And for you guys, it's like if you didn't experience, you know, unconditional love, you weren't appreciated, your emotions weren't honored, you weren't held with love and compassion, it's like you're desperately seeking that now, and you're seeking it from other people, but it really feels like that's something you have to give yourself first. You know, it's like kind of healing your inner child, giving him or her the love that they didn't get, instead of expecting someone come in to give that to you, because as long as that wound is unhealed within you, you're only going to attract people who are going to validate that wound. And so that's where it's like this desire that you think you have, but it's never what you want it to be. It never gives you what you want from it. It's because you have to give it to yourself first. We have the Hanged Man. Yeah, you're gonna remain trapped, not trapped, but stuck in this cycle, until you go in and heal and deal with a lot of unhealed, a lot of emotions that you weren't able to deal with as a child. It feels like you guys still haven't actually dealt with it and fully faced it. And again, you'll know if this reading resonates with you, not because you'll probably know that, oh yeah, I have to do that work, again, because your mind is trying to run from it. So it's probably trying to tell you, no, that's not me, I don't need to. But if you find yourself really desiring that kind of love, maybe not even from a relationship, but just from people, know that that's a hint that this is actually what's behind that desire. We have the Four of Pentacles. Yeah, it's almost like it's almost like this is gonna sound weird, but it's like you see it as a sacred pain. Like even though you may have had a very difficult childhood, it was yours, and you still kind of define yourself with it. You still have some sort of attachment to it that in a way you're afraid of you're afraid of that changing. I don't know, it's like there's this resistance to healing childhood pain because almost you don't, I don't know. It's like you don't want to you don't want to let it go. You're afraid it'll cut that attachment to, I don't know, it just feels sacred to you, but it's affecting your life to this day in a negative way. You know, I was watching a Joe Dispenza interview, and the interviewer was asking of, well, I've been going to therapy, I've been doing all this, I still, you know, I can't heal, I can't let this go. And he was saying, you know, well, maybe you're addicted to feeling that way. Maybe you're addicted to the pain and feeling like you always have something that you need. It's like there's just this addiction to either, for you, I don't feel like it's an addiction to the pain. It feels like it's, you define yourself and you feel like you are who you are because of your upbringing. But it's like, yes, that is the case, but if you were to heal those wounds, that wouldn't change you, and it wouldn't, I don't know, it wouldn't affect you the way that you think that it would. And this could even be subconsciously that it's like you're protective of this trauma, or that, not even if it's not trauma, of that this period of your life, and you're afraid what will happen if you faced it and dealt with it. You feel like you would lose a part of yourself, but that just isn't the case. This could also be that, again, you guys are so familiar with deep emotions, but like even this feels too deep and intense for you. And with strength of vulnerability, this could be something that you might, you know, want to work with an external person with, like a therapist or a counselor, or like a spiritual guide, a spiritual teacher, to, you know, be present with you and work through this with you and create a safe space for you to open that door. Because there's a part of you that's just, again, being so comfortable with deep, intense emotions, you're still afraid of what's behind that door. We have the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, there is a fear of what would happen if I were to open that. What would happen if I faced it? Like for you, it almost feels like you think like the world's gonna crumble. You think you might lose yourself. You might like go insane if you actually did what a part of you knows that you have to do. Which, again, this does feel very intense. So much so that, again, knowing Scorpios, your Scorpios are great therapists, right? You go through hell and back by yourself. You're like, you're a master at it. But it's with this, I still would encourage you to work with someone. If it's not a therapist, like a friend, someone who's able to be there, who's familiar with, you know, the healing work and psychology and like shadow work, but who's able to create a safe space for you and be present. And it almost feels like you need someone to be there with you to deal with whatever is behind this door. Because, again, the solution isn't gonna come from outside. The solution is you. It is you going within and dealing with this, opening that door. But you're subconsciously terrified of what's gonna happen if you were to open that. You guys could have a strong fourth house. Like if you have Chiron or Saturn in your fourth house, there are like deep wounds, emotional, also childhood wounds, that again are so intense that it's good to have someone there with you to help unravel everything and to help you deal with it, so you don't have to, it's like a weight gets lifted off of your shoulders. You just have to open it and they'll help you deal with it. You don't have to deal with it on your own. We have the 7 of Pentacles and the 9 of Wands. It feels like, again, whatever this is, it continues to have a very significant impact on your life. Like everything that you build, everything that you create, everything that you do in life, the roots, right? The 4th house is roots. It represents roots, whereas the 10th house would be the tree. And it feels like whatever's behind that door, it's infusing everything in your life with its energy, whether it's positive or negative. And with the 9 of Wands, it feels like it has made your life so much harder than it needs to be. It's it has a very strong hold on you still. And you're like everything that you try to do in life. And so it does feel like this is something that would be in your best interest to deal with. But again, the more cards come out, I just feel like this is so intense that I really encourage you to work with a therapist or a spiritual healer. Someone needs to be there with you, because it's too much even for you. We have the 3 of Cups, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Hermit. Yeah, it's like this is actually kind of beautiful because, and I don't know her name, so I don't want to. There's this podcaster and her wife. There's this girl on YouTube. Her name is Blue. You might be able to find her on, a lot of spiritual podcasts, but they have like a community, a group of friends who they're all spiritual. They're always there for each other. They support each other. They have like healing sessions, and they are very vulnerable and open with one another. And it feels like that could be something to look into, of working within a group of friends or a community, like going to a healing retreat, somewhere where you're surrounded by people who understand, definitely like spiritual people who are all open and vulnerable and healing together. It feels like that might be the best way for you to actually deal with this. To be surrounded by people, so the girl that I'm talking about, they do a lot of like spiritual medicine that brings up a lot of issues, and then they, talk about it together and deal with it together. If you're not interested in something like that, I do know there's still like group spiritual retreats, and that might be something to look into, where you're literally surrounded by people who are all like-minded, all there to heal, and all very understanding of, of this healing journey that we're all on. But again, the main message here is to have support, to be surrounded by people you feel safe with and you feel aligned with, and there is a sacred space for you to, you know, open that door and heal that wound. Yeah, the main message here is not to do it alone. This isn't something you want to do on your own. This is something that you want to be surrounded by people, if you're not interested in going to a retreat, or if you don't have friends who are also very spiritual and who would understand, there are a lot of spiritual healers and guides who are able to work with you. It's your choice, you know, however, wherever you feel comfortable, but it does feel like being around people is the best place for you to start this healing and to face, you know, whatever is behind that door, because you're subconsciously running from it. And for someone like you, a Scorpio, that really makes me feel like this is really intense. So please don't do it on your own. Look into, you know, either going on a retreat or finding someone that resonates with you and feels right to you to work through this with. If you're drawn to it, if you feel like there is something that you are subconsciously running from, and if you feel like you're constantly seeking from the external world and other people, but you're never satisfied, it's never what you want it to be, then you know there is something going on that you haven't dealt with yet. All right, Scorpio, I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. I hope it was helpful. I love you guys. I wish I could be there for you on this, because you just need to be surrounded by so much love. I wish you guys the best, and I will see you guys next time.